Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
As soccer takes center stage this summer, Comcast helps bring the experience home to America. As the exclusive Spanish-language home of the tournament in the U.S., Telemundo is set to present its most expansive coverage ever. 700 hours of programming, live on-site presence at all 104 matches. And with multi-view and real-time 4K, Xfinity will deliver the most innovative and immersive sports viewing experience for fans watching on Telemundo, Peacock, Fox, and FS1. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com.
This episode is brought to you by Perfect Bistro Cat Food. Hey guys, today I'm interviewing my cat about his perfect bistro food. Percy, you seem to be a big Perfect Bistro fan. Care to comment? Totally. What do you like about it? You love the high-quality ingredients? And the delicious flavors, of course. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Listen to Percy, guys. Visit perfectbistro.com to try it for your cat.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Wynn, and welcome to another How We're the podcast. And over the summer, we've brought you some football treats with the likes of Tommy Sorensen and Patrick Roberts. But we've also had some great non-football chats with the likes of George Clark joining us. And today we've got another treat away from the footy as we dip into the music world, because between Thursday the 13th of August and Sunday the 15th, we've got a weekend of live music down at Seaburn with Cliffe Park Live. And on Friday the 14th of that weekend, it's Embrace who take to the stage to headline the evening. I'm of that age that I remember, along with the likes of Be Here Now and Urban Hymns, The Good Will Out was one of the big albums to be released during my school years. And with the World Cup just finishing, they were also the last band to release an official England World Cup song. But now it's the best part of 30 years since The Good Will Out was released, and Embrace have just released their 9th album called Avalanche, which was released in June, which has become their 9th top 10 album, funnily enough. So before I go into fan mode and get all a bit giddy, I'm delighted to say we have the company of Danny McNamara from Embrace. Hello, Danny.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's summer and the kids are off, so it gives me a chance not to get up and do the school run. But how's it going for you?
Same here. Yeah, my kids are away for a couple of weeks. I have to stay at home because I've got gigs and stuff. But my wife has taken the kids away, so I've just got the house to myself. So I'm getting loads of work done. She piled up loads of work for me to do before she left, obviously.
I was going to say, bloody hell, house to yourself, you're living the dream, aren't you?
Yeah. But it's weird because it sort of is a dream for about sort of 3 or 4 days while you decompress, and then I really start missing them. So, I could maybe do a week at a push, and then after that, I've got to go out and see them. So that's what I'm doing. I've got a gig in Ireland on Saturday, and then straight after that, I'm flying out to Spain to see them all. So I'm not away from them for too long.
Nice. Well, I was going to say, I mean, just in general, how's your summer going? Because I imagine it's absolutely whipping by with a new album just out.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. The album did a lot better than we were all expecting it to. We hoped it was going to do really well because, we're all massively proud of it. And, I think it's like another high, watermark for us. Maybe like The Good Will Out as a lot of people's favorite, but then Out of Nothing came out and did better than all our other albums put together. So that was another high sort of watermark, and I think this is another one again. So yeah, it did really well, and we're all really buzzing about it. It's really weird because it got to number 5, and we haven't sold that. We haven't done that well for nearly 20 years. And it's like, most bands sort of fade away slowly and get ever diminishing returns, but we seem to keep making comebacks, and it feels like we're in the middle of another renaissance again. So yeah, everyone's really buzzing. We see each other like every couple of weeks when we've got festivals and stuff, and getting back together. It's just like getting the old gang back together, and we just all like really buzzing to see each other and all still really on a high,
Well, we'll definitely get into some of that, those kind of comebacks as you've just described them. But this is your 9th time around with a new album. I mean, does it still feel the same? Do you still get those nerves, when you've got a new album? Because you've worked on something for so long that, when it's finally out, does it still feel the same as it did kind of, 25, 30 years ago?
Yeah, it hasn't changed a bit, really. I do still really like obviously, like, I've got a wife and kids now, so they're more important to me, but it is still, it's the third most important thing in my life after my wife and kids. And yeah, it is everything. It sort of gives me a purpose. It makes me feel glad to be alive. It's a reason to get out of bed in the morning. Um, and it's the best job in the world being in a band. I mean, astronaut, president, actor, rock and roll star still wins, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh.
So I'm like, I don't really want to be an astronaut. I'd get like, the claustrophobia would really bother me, I think. And the lack of being in control would really bother me. I can't be president, although I think I'd do a better job, to be honest.
Well, I was just about to say, anyone can now, can't they? Surely.
And I can't act. Like, I just literally, like, I know that for a fact because we've done lots of videos, and in the beginning, they used to have little bits of acting for me to do, and even those little bits, I just so bad. I can't, like, when someone says just walk over there, and I can just walk over there, but if I'm on camera, I look like I'm self-consciously like, I I can't walk like like they say, like dance like no one's watching, sing like no one's listening.
Yeah.
I can't act like no one's watching. You can feel the camera burning inside of my face. So yeah, rock and roll star was the only thing that was left that I might have a chance at. And, I mean, I can't really sing either, but it hasn't stopped me. You know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, I was going to say, well, actually, on the astronaut thing, I genuinely watched Apollo 13 with my lad last night. I introduced him to that.
Wow,
But I was going to say, you got it right for that split second, though, on the album cover for The Good Will Out, because I always thought that was one of the coolest album covers at the time. Because I originally, when I first found you, I thought you were an American band with the album cover.
Right, yeah. Well, the original idea was that I wanted to have the sun and have someone sort of coming back from the sun. Like, have a massive queue of people stretching out all the way towards the sunlight, the sunrise or sunset. And then have someone coming back from the sun, like they'd just been out on a massive night out or, sort of slightly off their face. And I had this idea as well that I wanted it to be in America because Britpop was really big, and I didn't really want to be I found the association quite limiting, and the sort of the way that you can only like the same 4 bands. It was like the Beatles, the Stones, the Pistols, and the Who, or whatever. And obviously, they're great bands. I'm not saying they're not, but they're not the only 4 bands in the world. And this sort of, I don't know, kind of like forced almost British identity, limiting British identity just felt really silly. And so, like, I always like bands like, the Beach Boys. And I mean, one of my favorite bands at that time when we were starting out were bands like Mercury Rev and Flaming Lips, Nirvana, like Pixies were a massive influence on me. I had like, I mean, I still obviously love British bands. I remember I had like a C90 cassette, and on one side I had Doolittle, and on the other side I had the Stone Roses. And basically that was the only cassette I would ever play, I couldn't fit all of all of the Stone Roses onto one cassette because it's slightly longer than 45 minutes. So I just got rid of Elizabeth My Dear and some of the backwards bit of Don't Stop,
Yeah.
edited it out, and then so it was basically that, and it was just over and over and over. I remember decorating my house and like playing it and playing it and playing it. I actually preferred Doolittle to the Stone Roses, and Stone Roses is like one of my top 10 favorite albums, but I think Doolittle's in my top 5. I just wanted like the cover to sort of reflect a broader palette, you know. And a lot of our those early EPs, we had a great company called Blue Sauce who listened to our EPs and came up with those photos as being something that that our music evoked, and it really chimed with me. Certainly the first couple, the one where people all like sitting on the outside of the stadium, and the one with the kids running through, I think, like a basketball court.
Yeah.
Just reminded me like the Red Hand Gang or all those amazing American kids TV shows that you used to watch during the summer holiday. You know, and even like Charlie Brown, you know, just like you would feel as a kid in Yorkshire, like playing at the Tip or playing at the, you know, Warehouse or all these BMX track, all these places. You would feel like the sun would always be out and the days would last forever. And I just sort of wanted to conjure up some of that. I wanted it to be the total opposite of, again, another band I love, Joy Division, where everything was really sort of bleak and northern and working class. And I mean, obviously, like I look, you know, Joy Division, they may be my favorite ever band. But what I was doing was kind of a reaction to how I felt about Joy Division. Like Joy Division were like really in the middle of the struggle, and really that their music's really raw. But if you listen to some of their stuff, like Bernard Sumner's guitar comes in and it brings this like wall of hope, which like, given how things ended for Joy Division is really tragic and really sad, but also like almost like doubly poignant now. But yeah, Joy Division probably my favorite ever band, but I didn't want to do that. We started out we sounded a lot like Joy Division, Echo and the Bunnymen, sort of me singing over loops, and we did sound quite gothy. That somehow felt wrong. It felt like it wasn't what we were about. I just recovered from an illness, and I wanted to bring the color in. I wanted to like make people or have people feel warmth, and those things were like really crucial to me. Like, it wasn't like bland or, you know, some sort of like Facebook, you know, on Facebook you get like these bland sayings that come up, you know, like, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. You know, that kind of bollocks.
Well, I'll take your word for it because I stay as far away as I can from it, to be honest.
They're always coming up with these sort of like Facebook truisms, or, you know, and I really, what I wanted to do was I wanted to do like a sort of something as crucial as open heart surgery, but on people's happiness with my music. I wanted to lift people up, and that sort of came from a place where I'd felt so down. I didn't know it was humanly possible to feel that bad. And I just thought, all the music around, all the popular music, you know, and a lot of bad pop music is sort of empty and happy, and it's sort of like a Prozac kind of Westworld smile on it. I wanted to sort of genuinely warm people and make them feel like they weren't alone. And I thought if I did that from the realest place possible, which is like from your childhood, that's where shit gets real. When you're really scared, you go back to being 6 years old again. even when you're in your 50s. You know, I mean, I've had it happen to me recently, and you do, like, you're still completely defenseless. And I wanted to make music that started from a really vulnerable place, that didn't have those defenses, that didn't, like, rely on any sort of tricks, and then build something with that at its heart that was really big and special, you know.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
yeah, sorry, I
Yeah.
went on a bit there, didn't I? But yeah.
No, well, no, because I was, because I'm in my early 40s and my brother is 13 years older than me. So he basically drummed Joy Division into me from the moment I could make any sort of noise, I think, and I kind of took it in through osmosis or something like that with Joy Division. But it's funny, interesting actually, because even Peter Hook said that he never thought Joy Division sounded like Joy Division.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's right. Like, I mean, Peter, bless him, I've met him a few times. He's a great guy. He comes to festivals in his Jag, which is just such a, like, a flex.
Thing is, he would have said something to Tony Wilson if Tony Wilson had done that, wouldn't he?
I don't know. I think he deserves it. He fucking deserves it. You know, he's been in two of the best bands of our generation, and you know, of the last 50 years, I think, and an important part. You know, I mean, he's the bass player. That's not usually an important part, and so for him to, you know, make it and survive, you know, and leaving New Order and still survive, and yeah, he deserves to fucking come to festivals in his Jag. Like, if anybody,
Yeah, if anyone can.
yeah,
But
and I think you're right. I think I think, you know, a lot of people see darkness in Joy Division. I think I think he's been celebrating it for most of his adult life, and I think if anybody knows where the joy in Joy Division is, then it's him, and it's definitely there in his bass playing and in Bernard Sumner's guitars. I mean, it's just so. When that guitar line comes in at the beginning, hang on, can I play you it? Like, will it come on if I just stick it on? Hang on a sec.
yeah, I think if you stick it on the background.
Yeah. You know, see if it comes on. See if I can get the, right, okay. Sorry, everyone. Right. That guitar.
Yeah.
Man. It really gets me, that guitar. It's like, I'll just turn it off. Like, it's like a fucking 15-year-old in it. It's like dancing around in your bedroom, like no one's looking, like we said before. It's like, it's just got so much unadulterated hope and fucking joy in it, you know?
Yeah.
And whenever I listen to that and you know what happened, it's just really sad.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's funny because you put that guitar on.
Yeah. Okay.
I was and my kid is learning to play bass guitar, and I was putting things on like that, and I was putting like Psycho Killer by Talking Heads on and stuff like that,
Yeah.
just to say, look, that's where your place is. You know, imagine sounding like that and all that. Sort of stuff. But,
Yeah, Talking Heads just did a gig last night at the Pizza Hall. On the night before, my brother went and said it was amazing.
Yeah, bloody hell. All these years later, fantastic. I didn't even know. I need to look out for things. With kids, you don't even realise these gigs
Well,
are
that's
happening.
it. Like, I can't go. I mean, even though they were away, like, I've got so much work to do now. But my gigging days are largely behind me now, because if I'm not, I get to go out often enough with the gigs and concerts that I've got myself. I can't go to other people's. I get invited to lots of really wonderful stuff. Like, this guy is doing like a thing at the Edinburgh Fringe where he takes someone who's like a celebrity or someone who's in a band and makes a whole night about their love life. And he got in touch with me, and he wanted to do one. It was like, you know, all these other famous people had done it, and I was, oh God, that would be so funny. Like, I just can't justify leaving the house for anything other than work now because I'm away so much, so I had to say no, but there's loads of weird stuff like that happens to me, like people just propose weird things out of the blue. I got an email off a guy asking me if I wanted to stay at his luxury villa in Spain. I was like, I mean, where's the catch? Do you know what I mean? I mean, he said that you can bring your wife and kids. It's all on me. It's fine. Just 'cause he was a big fan, and I was like, I mean, what do I even say to that? I can't. I mean, it's a lovely gesture. Don't get me wrong, but I can't be like uprooting my wife and kids and going. But yeah, look, that's just the last week. Like I get, and if I have someone new working for me, like my manager normally like sort of fields all that stuff and sort of answers for me, saving it. But like I recently started doing these speaking engagements, so now I've got a new not a manager but a new agent kind of just for the spoken word stuff. And so everyone goes to him now. All the people can't get through my manager go to him, and so he's constantly sending me emails like, do you want your teeth doing for free and stuff like. I mean, my teeth are all right, I think. They're a bit yellow. Could maybe do with a whitening, but no, probably not going to go to a guy who's like emailed me on it. Excuse me if I wanted a freebie. I don't know.
You also had it.
So I asked the rest of the band. I'm sort of like, because they don't get most of this stuff. Like, generally me, and so I was thinking about the Spain holiday. I'm like, there's no real downside. So I'm trying to get someone in the band to go, oh yeah, if I was offered it, I'd go for it. And everyone's go, no fucking way, I'm not doing it. And then I thought to some of that, like, if I was on my own, I would definitely do it. It's like there's no downside really. But with my wife and kids, it might not be, it might not be ideal for whatever reason. So I just have to politely decline. How did we get onto that?
Well, I was going to say it's like that parenting thing, isn't it? They've got a theory that you should say yes to everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have started saying yes to a lot of stuff. I mean, the spoken word thing is a good example of that. But yeah, you still got to say no to some things, otherwise you just, I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say no to a Sunderland AFC fanzine podcast. But anyway, and if there's any fans of How the podcast that want to throw free things our way, then I'll be quite happy to take a look at those. But look, we talked about we mentioned Joy Division. You mentioned quite a lot about Talking Heads as well. But I just want to go quickly back to five lads that include two brothers putting a band together in the 90s, because of course that wasn't an original story in that decade. But looking back on that decade as you came together as a band, do you think it was a time and a place that made it possible for a group of lads from a small place in West Yorkshire between Huddersfield and Bradford even, to get together and just do what you did? Because it seemed to happen so often around the country that people went, I can do this. And I'm not sure if that's there now.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a really good question. I've been asked that a few times. It's like, I mean, the Beatles, right? They came from Liverpool and they did all right,
Not bad.
Arctic Monkeys, they were after us and they did all right, Recently, I mean, there are still good bands coming through, and I think it can happen. I think I sort of fall into two camps. So on the one hand, every year is the best year for music because not only have you got all the new stuff that's out that year, but you've got all the stuff that went through history. The collection just gets bigger and better. And at the moment, like, power is really in the artist's hands in a lot of ways, in the sense that you can record yourself really cheaply. The GarageBand and, even your iPhone or whatever, um, you know, might cost $1,000 or whatever, but it used to be $1,000 a day in the studio, at least. Um, and the facilities that we had to record, like 4 tracks with cassettes were like, it was appalling. Like the hiss was like louder than the hi-hats, it was horrendous. And like, so the technology you've got now to be able to, create a full band around you if you just write your own songs is amazing. And then the audience reach that you've got with social media. I mean, we would do a gig in front of 20 or 30 people, try and sell like 2 or 3 cassettes, try and get them to be on the mailing list, go and post letters, second-class letters, because we couldn't afford stamps, to our mailing list, and we had like 200 people on it or something, which was amazing back then. And I would write to them all personally to get them to come to the next gig, and the hustle and the of that. But now it's on social media, and at the click of a button that you're reaching thousands of eyes and ears. And yeah, you can say that there's a million other bands all trying to do the same thing, and Spotify release 1 million songs a day, and half of those are AI slop, and there's no way you're going to stand out above it all. But actually, if you're good, I think you still do. I think if you write something that's genuinely, heart-stoppingly fucking good, you'll cut through. You will. You don't have to do something viral. You don't have to set your fart on fire or burn your granny or whatever on TikTok to get views. You just have to make something that you believe is really great. And that's massively exciting, And also as well, like, most people can think that you suck. I mean, most people think Embrace suck. I'm under no illusions about that. Most people think Taylor Swift sucks, and she's the biggest fucking artist in the world. But, there's whatever there is, 7 billion people on the planet, or whatever it is. Probably 6.5 billion of them think that she fucking sucks. You know what I mean? You don't need everybody to love you. You just need a few thousand. And then you're all right. You can make a living doing what you love. You just have to reach them. And the way you reach them is by being yourself and burning as brightly as you can. Because someone somewhere will feel the same way you felt when you wrote that song. Or it'll conjure up something to them similar to what it conjures up to you. And they'll reach across. We've got fans in fucking Malaysia and Thailand and all over the place. You see them on Spotify. One of our biggest places is like Indonesia. It's like, I've never been. But we've been number 1 out there. It's like, they just love my band. And
Next
so,
to a
yeah,
venue.
if I was in a new band now, I'd be really excited by it. But the thing is, the shiny object is the social media. It's distracting. You can end up spending too much time doom scrolling, and we all know the negative stuff. It's not as important to find your audience with clever posts as it is to write great stuff. I think if you write great stuff, people will come to you. But social media is going to help get that out there, and you can bypass the middleman. It's famous, like what Arctic Monkeys did with their thing. They were massive before anybody gave them a record deal. And there's loads of bands out there who are really big that still haven't got record deals and not getting played on the radio because people are making up their own minds now. Back in my day, there was a handful of Oxbridge snobby fucking music critics deciding what everyone should like. Now those cunts are out of a job, or like talking about the 90s of talking head pricks on fucking Channel 5.
Yeah.
Still thinking that they know what they're talking about, and they never did.
Yeah.
But Now people decide for themselves, you know. Still, I'm not slagging off the entire music journalism as a genre. There's some great people out there. There's a lot of great people out there, you know. And you don't have to like us for me to think that you're great. Like, you know, Sean from Drowning Sounds never liked Embrace, but I think he's fucking fantastic, you know. More power to him. And there's a lot of great journalists out there. I'm not, you know, but it used to be controlled by like a cabal of Oxbridge cunts. You know, that massive, diverse roster of journalists on there, but the people who are making the decisions, no, man, no.
Yeah. And I remember reading Enemy week in, week out, and that told me what to like and what not to like. But and actually,
they loved us when we came out. We were like, for that 6 months when we were in the spotlight, we were the coolest band in the world. You know, like the Strokes or Suede before us or whatever. You know, so you know, I've been definitely a beneficiary of that hype. You know, I'm not slagging off the journalists in the process, but very specifically, just like that handful of people who think they know what they're talking about. And when they talk about music only in terms of drugs and culture, and I mean, those are important things in music, but they're not at the top. It's like the song, man. It's the stuff you can't write about. It's like writing about a song is like dancing about architecture. It's like how, you know, all you can do is say it's really catchy and I really love it and I don't know why. And then you can gush and go off on one about how much you love it. And that's wonderful. I love reading that prose when they do that. But you're still not going to explain it. If you could explain it, the songs wouldn't have any value. If they could be watered down to an explanation of them. That's not what art is. The opposite. It's the reason it's fucking art is because it's impossible to boil down. And so because they can't boil it down, what's great about it? Because they can't say why, for instance, faster than a cannonball in Champagne Supernova is an absolutely fantastic lyric. They slag it off and go, these lyrics are nonsense, but I love it, I don't know why, you know. Or Travis's second album, all the fucking knives came out for that. But that album's got some fantastic fucking songs on it. And everybody got blindsided, like, they're like, how come this is big? Like, it's like, because it's got great songs on it, you fucking pricks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ah!
Well, actually,
Anyway, how did I get onto that?
You mentioned Taylor Swift, actually, because my girl's 11, and one of my favourite bands is The National. And so she always mocks my music, and she was devastated when Taylor Swift got together with The National to do a song. She was absolutely gutted. And of course, I played it over and over again, and it was the one Taylor Swift song she didn't like. But anyway, just on, because you mentioned that about the art side of things, because I've actually shown my kids the bit in the Beatles documentary Get Back where Paul McCartney goes fishing for the song.
Oh, man, that's amazing, isn't it?
And it ends up with Get Back. To me,
yeah,
that is as much as, you know, you're watching, you know, Leonardo do his thing, Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo do his thing. And we've got it on film to watch an artist, you know, of the highest quality do his thing on film. And, you know, watching that is incredible. I sat my kids down. I said, just watch these few minutes and watch an artist
amazing
do his thing.
I mean, I've got a film of me undergoing that process and coming up with some stuff, but it's not fucking Get Back. You know, it's like, you know, you got to take your hat off there. That is one of the most, of the last 10 years, that's one of the most impressive pieces of art I've ever seen in my life. It's just so incredible. And I think that Get Back documentary was really, really good. I absolutely loved it. I watched the whole thing, and I mean, I am a little bit of a train spotter when it comes to stuff like that because I'm in a band myself, and so a lot of the in jokes I kind of recognize, can kind of relate it to, but still, even just on its own, that thing is like, it's right up there, isn't it?
Yeah. But just in terms of your process, do you go fishing like that, or?
Oh yeah, it's exactly the same. I just don't get a fucking Get Back. I get something else. But yeah, I mean, I used to do that a lot more than I do now. now I tend to have a piece of music that either Rick has written or Mick has written. Sometimes it's Mike or Steve, but generally it's Rick mainly and then Mick. And they send me like, for every dozen or so pieces of music, I might get something that I think's, exciting, like blue touch paper sort of moment. And then I put it to one side and we keep going. And then when I've got sort of a dozen of those, then we get together, me, Mick and Rick, and sort of bash out raw acoustic versions. And then when we think we've got enough for an album, we all get together. Usually give the tapes to Mike and Steve before we go into the studio so they can work on some ideas and stuff. So we're all, armed to the teeth when we're going. And then when we go in, it's really quick now. It used to be, we could spend a month on one song. And when I listen to the albums now, I can hear that in some of the recordings because they sound a bit like they've had the life strangled out of them. Now we don't do that. Now we'll record like 3 songs in a day. And that's wonderful for morale. It's wonderful for the process. And as far as I can see, it's all upside. Like, our last album, I think, sounds really fresh and new and young. And it's really it's got a real heartbeat pumping through it in a way that, maybe our third album doesn't. And, when you go into the studio without the songs and you try and write a studio album, there are some good albums that do that, but I don't think it's, it's embraced. It's better go armed to the teeth with songs and you come out with a better album is my, definitely how I want to do things going forward.
I've got a bone to pick with that third album. I remember listening to it just when I started uni. But anyway, well, that's a different conversation altogether. But I think just before we get into the Goodwill Out, that's probably a time for us to take a quick break. So we'll be back very soon.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
And welcome back to Highway the Podcast. And we're just getting into it with Danny McNamara from Embrace. And we've covered everything from talking heads to villas in Spain to getting your teeth done and all that sort of stuff. But I just want to go back for probably me actually to talk about the Goodwill Out in terms of that being released, because I remember the hype at school. I remember everyone, but even before it came out, there was this buzz about it. And as I said, at first I thought you were an American band because when I saw the album cover, but I was kind of hooked from that orchestra warm up. As soon as that started, I was like, right, I'm in here. I'm hooked already. But when you sat down, you had that set of songs. You're talking about waiting until you've got that album, and you had that set of songs. Did you all just know we've got something big here?
It's really weird. Like, I remember I was speaking to one of Liam Gallagher's best friends at the time. We were in a hotel somewhere, drunk and chat in the middle of the night, and it was right before we were due to mix the album. And he said to me, "Your album better be good, mate." And I was like, "How do you mean?" He said, "Well, like, you've told everybody in the world it's going to be absolutely amazing, and everyone's waiting for you to fail now. Everyone's waiting for you to fall on your ass." And I sort of took it on board. Like, the next morning when I woke up, couldn't leave the house. I was absolutely terrified. I was like, "Oh my God, what have I done?" I was like, we tried mixing it with all these different people, with like Andy Wallace and Steve Osborne and Chris Potter and all these massive names, and it wasn't happening. Like it wasn't working for whatever reason. It wasn't working. It's not their fault, you know. Maybe not our fault. It's just one of those things, you know, chemistry or whatever. And I was really worried. This was sort of the last chance saloon. We were like getting this guy to come in, and Youth actually coming back, and with Hugo Nicholson, sort of mix engineer. And I'd already tried to mix with Hugo on my own, and that hadn't worked. So I was like, how's this going to be different? I was like, oh my God, it's not going to work. So I phoned my manager up, and I daren't leave the house. And I was in my bedroom. I was sleeping on the floor, actually, on in someone's flat on Oxford Street, where my girlfriend at the time lived. She was sleeping on the couch there, and I was sort of also sleeping on the couch because that's all she had. So I wasn't getting much sleep. And I remember just being in there with the curtains drawn, and my manager come in to see me. That Big Life had offices pretty near to Oxford Street, so he just literally walked to where I was staying, knocked on the door, and came in. And I was sat in bed still with the curtains drawn, like, I can't do it. I'm not. What if it sounds shit? Like, the whole world's waiting for me to fail. I've told everybody it's going to be the best album ever. It's going to be like Pet Sounds meets Sly and the Family Stone. What Sergeant Pepper would have sounded like if Brian Wilson had joined him. You know, it's something like all sorts of, you know, basically the most ambitious I could possibly be. And I'd got all these people like hyped and like, you know, and everybody was like hoping I was right, you know. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is gonna be fucking amazing!" And I was just like this northern working class dreamer, really. Like I'd come from a background of like building sheds and working in a record shop, and I mean, I was really smart. I got all my O levels and A levels. I went to grammar school, you know. When you know you passed your 11 plus and you got to grammar school, you didn't have to pay. And so I wasn't like dumb or anything, but you know, I in my head I was just like, I can't imagine doing anything else. This is what I want to do, and no one gave a fuck for 8 years. Like, you know, between being sort of 16, 17 when I started trying to do it, and being 25 when we started getting a record deal. No one had given a fuck, you know. Everyone's like, oh, whatever. Some guy who's in a loser band, you know. So I guess I developed a hard shell to that, because how else are you gonna, you know? It's like there's this. I think I can't remember who said it. It might even be someone like Bono or something. Said something like, "Your illusions about how good you are come down as your talent goes up, and you better hope that as your illusions disappear, talent replaces them. So if it doesn't, it all comes down." And so yeah, I think that equation happened, and the album was actually pretty good. But yeah, so I'm there in bed, and I'm not. And my manager just said, "Look, you've recorded it all now. You've done the hard bit. This is just, you know, it just has to be mixed now, and you don't even have to be involved. You know, just go down later on today and just have a listen to how they're getting on." So I went down to the studio, and I dared go in the studio, and I told them to start Mix the Goodwill Out, because that's piano vocal. You can't fuck that up. So we started with the easiest one, you know. Gets to 10 o'clock at night, and no one's come to get me. Like, oh no, it's that fucking piano vocal. I've been mixing it since midday. It's like 10 hours later. We're like, what the fuck? I'm like, and our Rick comes in and grabs me. He goes, "Right, come on down, come have a listen." And I walked in, and he stuck it on. And I just burst out crying, because for the first time, it sounded exactly as I had it in my head. We used to have a joke that, like, because I can't really play anything. I can play acoustic guitar a little bit. I can play piano like somebody who got a piano for Christmas and is just figuring it out. If I hit a nice chord, I can never remember what it is and go back to it later.
Yeah, that's me as well. That's where I'm
what
at.
that was. So, although I have written some songs on piano, I wrote "Looking as You Are" on piano and a few others. But yeah. So it was like, you know, really, 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 really hard,
Mm.
and then it came out sounding like I envisaged it, and it was. I was trying to say that it was a joke in the band. I would always go, not like that, not like that, and then I would go like more orange and like wants to sound older, and guys in the band are like, that's A, that's B, that, like harder, louder, slower. Those are words we understand, like fucking orange and it's like, what the fuck? So basically, they would just try to vaguely make me happy based on the vibe they're getting from my bullshit words. And then when they get it right, I would always go, that's what I meant. That's what I meant all along. That's exactly how, and they'd be like, okay. So, but this time it genuinely was like it sounded coming out of the speakers how it did in my head. And I just couldn't, And then the next day, I let them do it on their own again. But this time it was like tea time. It was like 5 o'clock or something. And it was My Weaknesses, None of Your Business was the second one they mixed. And it's like, yeah, great. That sounds great as well. And it's like every day was like, it's almost there, it's almost there. And then at the end, I was just massively, massively proud of it. And I listen to it now, and it still has something special about it. I think that transcends any of the sort of reductive ideas about what it is. It has it has that warmth that I was that make people feel like they're not alone, coming from a place of darkness and trying to bring light, in a sort of a unpretentious way, and in a way that sort of feels a bit squeaky around the edges. Like there's orchestras and stuff in there, but we all sound like a bunch of 5-year-olds that don't know what the fuck we're doing. I really think, and it doesn't sound grown up at all. I remember, obviously I don't want to get into slagging anyone off, but I remember like the Verve were on Hut at the same time, and their album was coming out. I think it came out maybe just before ours or just after ours.
Yeah.
I remember hearing it, and I didn't like it because it sounded too grown up. It sounded like a bunch of musos, and and I mean, it is an amazing album. That I'm not slagging Urban Hymns off. It's fucking amazing songs, and Richard Ashcroft's one of the best frontmen of the last 50 years, whatever. And he's, I would never not slagging him off, but it wasn't what we were about at all. Like, it just felt really grown up in a sort of Neil Diamond sort of way, a bit adult AOR, and I know that like them as a band, that they pride themselves on that musicianship and stuff. It's important to them, because I know that Richard Ashcroft saw us from the side of the stage, watched us for a bit, because we're on the same label, support each other, all that. Walked off after a couple of songs and went, yeah, they're all right, but they're not as good at playing as we are. And I was like, that's really not the point at all. It's kind of, we're making a big joyous sound here, and whether we can play or not fucking doesn't matter. So you kind of missed the point a little bit of what it is about us that's special. And,
well, you've touched on it a couple of times there that you maybe weren't thought you didn't think yourselves as being part of that. If for want of a better word, let's just call it Britpop, because everyone knows what we're talking about. But Noel Gallagher's turned around and said he thought what happened in the 90s and that decade was probably the last big movement before the internet completely changed things, because as soon as we got into the 2000s, the internet basically changed how, like you said, with the Arctic Monkeys. So is it something you look back on, and you, especially going 30 years later, you can now look back on and go, as much as we didn't feel part of it then, just because of the timing with the internet chucked in there, like you did feel that. Do you feel now that you were part of something big before almost the world changed?
No.
Mm.
Not at all, no.
Because he makes a big
Never
thing of it, though,
really
doesn't
felt
he?
part of anything, really. I think a lot of people in bands feel like outsiders. Um,
Mm.
I think it's one of the reasons you get into being in a band because you don't fit in and you think, "Oh, well, no one fucking wants to know. I'll just do my own fucking thing then," you know?
Mm.
I think that there's that at the heart of a lot of bands. Been watching, like, online, there's, like, lots of stuff and, like, I quite often on my timeline for whatever reason see, like, Placebo and
Hmm.
Squid and the Manics and stuff all always come up on my timeline, and one of the things that all those bands have in common is they all feel like they're outsiders, you know what I mean? Suede pretty much invented Britpop,
Yeah.
but they never felt like a Britpop band, you know?
Yeah.
Which to me is odd. It's like sort of Nirvana saying they were never a grunge band. It's like, come on, man, you're the fucking definitive grunge band. But in a way, it's sort of fair enough because, yeah, they did invent it, but they didn't invent the scene, you know?
Mm.
They were the sort of first kind of around that time to sort of blend all those influences together. And so they weren't part of a scene, they were fucking pioneers, you know? And so it's fair enough that they're not, I mean, they are a Britpop band by default because all these other fuckers joined in. But, you know, they started it, so that they can call it what they want because it's their fucking thing, you know what I mean? So I kind of feel that. I feel a little bit like that about all the bands that came after us and sounded a bit like us, you know?
Mm.
We all know all they are, you know, a lot of them went on to become bigger than us, but, yeah, I was never part of that scene either. I just fucking sort of started it, you know?
Mm. Mm.
Um, I mean, I think the Manics were doing strings a little bit before we did them, but,
Yeah.
yeah, what we were doing was pretty new when we came out. It was,
Yeah.
like, unusual.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Nothing. I remember thinking it was something on its own because
Yeah.
people were talking about good people being. I remember some people were at the time. I remember.
Good people. I mean, come on. Fucking I'll Pepsi challenge that song with fucking anyone. Like, come on. I mean, still, like, 30 years later, I would play it first now because it's just like, come on. I mean, it's literally like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, I'm proud of that song is what I'm trying.
Well, I remember having an argument with someone at school, bizarrely. I can't remember what I did yesterday or the shopping list for tomorrow, but I can remember having an argument with someone at school because they were comparing it to Do You Know What I Mean on Be Here Now.
Yeah.
And I was arguing it sounded not like it, but we were having that argument anyway. But actually, just on that, how your initial reaction is, you know, come on, you know, good people, and mine's exactly the same. I mean, you must feel, you know, when you're talking about anthems of a decade, yours is in there. Yours is, you know, close to the top of there. I mean,
Yeah,
that must be something where you go, that's always, no matter what we do now, that's
yeah.
always going to be there.
Yeah, well, it's a weird one that because, like, I am massively proud of it. I remember, though our radio plugger saying to us, like, "Have you got anything to follow that?" And we didn't at the time. And then I wrote "Come Back to What You Know" in the middle of the night one time and, rang my manager, Jazz, who's like our main manager is Tony at Big Life, but Jazz used to own the company. He's passed away now, unfortunately. Great guy, but I used to ring him because he was in LA, and it'd be like 3:00 in the morning over here, and couldn't wake anybody up at that time in the morning, no matter how good the fucking song was, you know. But he'd be in LA, and so I rang him and I played him "Come Back to What You Know," and it starts, you know, "Come back to what," he goes, "Wow, that's a really great chorus. What's the verse like?" I was like, "No, that's the verse. This is the chorus." So then I sang him the chorus. He's like, "Oh my god, it's got 2 choruses. Fuck!" he was just so excited, you know. He was like, and this guy, like, he was in his 60s or whatever, and you know, you could hear him jumping around on the other end of the phone like a 15-year-old, you know. But yeah, with Good People, that was all came about really in the mix. Like we had this song. It's about 8 minutes long. We were recording in a demo studio in Huddersfield with a guy who ended up doing most of the album with Dave Creffield. And we needed some piano on it, and we needed some strings on it. So like, Dave, do you know anyone? And he knew about Mickey Dale. And we already knew who Mickey Dale was because he was in a band called Poppy Factory, who were managed by a guy who we used to be managed by a way back. So we knew him. We'd sort of seen him around. So like, yeah, get him in. And he came in. We literally rang him, I think, like 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and he was just putting some ties on or whatever for his Sunday dinner. Dave said, "Can you come in?" He's like, yeah, sure. When? He's like, well, now. They're in the studio now, and it's got to be done by end of today. They're like, fuck, okay. So, all right, Paul, I'm off. And, he came in, and I was worn out because literally we had like 3 days in the studio to record 3 songs, and I hadn't even written the lyrics for most of them. And so I was like double bubble, like all night writing lyrics, all day recording. And so I said to Mick, I said, you've got an hour. I need to get my head down. You've got an hour. Stick piano on that. And then I already had the horn bit written. So I played that. I wasn't very good at playing, but it's pretty simple. And I said, yeah, and stick some strings on there. And there's a big gap here. Just go mad. Just, whatever. And then I went and went to sleep, got about an hour, came back in, and he was on Cubase shifting little dots around. And I was like, so how are you doing? And he goes, oh, almost finished. And then he stuck it on. And it's basically Oi Good People as you know it. Like, all the strings, all the piano, the horns were sounding a lot better now because he played them properly, and, the whole thing. But it still sounded as a song. It still sounded, good, but like a bit like a demo. And we'd run out of time. We couldn't mix it. And I was like, oh no, going to be giving this to the record company. It was like a demo for London Records. And it was like, oh, we're not going to get signed here. And Tony, my manager, said, we know some mix engineers in London who can do it. And I was like, what? You're going to take the tapes down to London and some fancy ass mixer's going to fucking ruin it? No fucking way. Who is he? What's he called? Like, where does he live? Because if he fucks it up, I'm going to go around his house. I'm going to do his fucking windows. And Tony just said, ever the pragmatic, Tony just said, look, why don't we see if he does a good job first before you do his windows in? So I was like, growling and gripping the table, like, okay, well, I'm fucking, you better. So and Ott's deaf in one ear, so he mixes everything in sort of mono and double mono, and then puts it in stereo afterwards. And went into the studio, and he had the mix up, and he put it on, and it just sounded fucking amazing. He'd taken all the waffly 3-minute intro we had at the beginning off, and he'd turned the guitars right up. He made everything really clear. And I was just like, I almost started seeing the world through rose-tinted glasses. Like, it just, like, I was so impactful. And I just couldn't believe it. And we rang the management company up, and they came down, Jazz came, as well as Tony, and everyone was like, oh my fucking God, this is going to be huge. And Jazz was like, you don't have to worry about getting a record deal. Like, because that's what we were worried about at the time. He's like, they will be queuing up to give you a record deal, and publishing, you're gonna be the first band in Britain to get £1 million publishing deal. And he was right with it. And he goes, and just to guarantee you, if no other record company will put this out, I'll put it out. You've got a record deal. Stop fucking worrying about that. Just try and write another one as good as that. And it was really like, just that's one of the things about jazz was that he had an infectious enthusiasm. He was just really like a kid. Um, and I hope I've got some of that. You know, I mean, I'm 55 now, but I still bring it like I'm 15. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, talking about that sort of enthusiasm, one thing that came very quickly, because I include myself in all of this, was the Embrace fan. Because it's fair to say from an early stage, they were a bit of a different breed. And I kind of put this down to the music that you produced, because you almost, you felt invested in it because of the type of music that you wrote and put out. But then you started doing kind of secret gigs, which became a huge part of the band. I mean, did you feel that you had this different feeling with your fans because they just, it wasn't necessarily that they did anything over it just seemed a different feeling around the fan with Embrace than it did with other fans. And I don't know what it was. Like I said, the only thing I can put it down to is the music, in that you were in it and you kind of felt it, whereas other bands it was something else.
I think we're misunderstood quite a lot. I think people who don't like Embrace think that we're dad rock. You know, which you're
That's
laughing about.
that's what my kids will say now.
Yeah. That's fine. It's fine. You know, to be fair, my dad thinks we're fucking great. You know, they think that we're, you know, that the lyrics are empty platitudes, that the music is a lowest common denominator blend of Verve and Oasis, and that it was then done far better with better voices by, you know, Snow Patrol, Coldplay, Starsailor, Keen, fucking Travis, whatever. But people who love the band know that that's all bullshit, you know. And they'll defend us till the day they die, because there's something in what we do and who we are as people that resonates with them in a way that they can't get anywhere else. Just can't get it anywhere else. You know, we're not a lot of people's third favorite band. We're either your favorite or you can't fucking stand us. And I kind of like that. I'm fully on board with that. You know, I sort of, we talked about the Manics and Suede and Placebo earlier on. Like, they're not all bands I particularly love, you know, but I can sort of see there's a kind of a commonality there, sort of the outsider a little bit, misunderstood a little bit, plowing our own furrow a little bit, you know, it's that. And I probably, like, everybody in the band feels like that to some degree, but I think with us, with Embrace, it's like a large degree, you know. There are some people who think that we're terminally uncool. And for me, that's kind of the point. Like, that's kind of like, you say I'm terminally uncool, like that. For me, not giving a flying fuck about that makes me the coolest person in the world.
I was just about to say that exactly.
And I am. I am cooler than all those fuckers you think you're cool. That's just how it is. So I don't know, but like, I am massively honoured about how, like, the fans of Embrace and you know, one of the reasons why I'm doing this spoken word tour thing that I'm doing in a couple of months is I got asked to do it, like, around lockdown. There was this guy said, "Do you want to come and do like a spoken word thing?" And I was like, "I mean, that doesn't sound like me." Like, no. And then he told me how much money he was going to give me, and I was like, "Fuck me, yeah, I'll do that." Basically, like, however many people go, I get the ticket money and he got the bar. So there's like 150 people there all paying 20 quid. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in.
What do you want us to say?
Just have to talk for an hour, okay. So I went down, and this guy, I think he was like a local DJ guy, asked me questions, and pretty soon, like, I just took the mic off the guy and was like, "I'll just talk. You go sit down." I had all these stories I wanted to fucking tell everyone, like so many things I haven't talked about that I wouldn't even talk about on a podcast because it's too near the knuckle.
Yeah.
But that I will talk about in front of, 50 or 100 Embrace fans because I just trust them, so I can give them all the dirt, all the truth, all the, whether it's fucking Detroit shootouts or carjackings or near-death experiences or the Angelina Jolie story with the spaceship and Chris Martin and like meeting Bono and, all like there's so many being naked in a hotel room next to the Hells Angels. Just so many stories. So I just started doing it and it went really well. Like it went massively well. And so it's like I think it was about 150 people or something like that. He said, "Do you want to do some more?" It's like, yeah, I'll do this all day. So he set up like another dozen or so, and they all went really well. And it's great because it's the most crazy Embrace fan. It's the most like it's people like you, like people like are just like, they got married to one of our songs, or we introduced them to music, or whatever it is, and all these people who've got stories dating, of the band that means something to them that date back 30 years are all there in that crowd, like whereas an Embrace gig you might have like 1,000 or 2,000 people there. Here you've got like 50 or 100, so it's like 1 in 20 people. The 1 in 20, the craziest, most ardent fans are in the audience. So it's a small crowd, but they're all massively into it. So I walk on stage and I feel like, I don't know, like David Koresh or something, it's a fucking cult meeting, it's like, we could all gather around together, like almost huddle like in a scrum and like have a secret chat, and then I get to meet them all afterwards and post some photos and hear their stories and like answering their questions as well. Like I'll just talk for the first half and then second half they get to ask me questions, and that's the best bit because like fucking random questions come out of nowhere. Like someone was talking the other day about like how my favorite ever Christmas present is a leaf blower, and it's true. Fucking hell, if you haven't got a leaf blower, get one. Seriously, it will be the best half an hour of your life. I've got OCD, so I just go around my garden blowing things and making it look nice and clean. Like those videos on TikTok where some guy goes in and trims the garden and it looks nice. That's all there is on my timeline because I've got OCD, so I just find them really satisfying. But having a leaf blower, you can make your own. You can like literally, you're in your own. You fucking living the dream. So yeah, just loads of like fucking random, and it can be quite funny. And it can be quite. We've had people, obviously, like people laughing, but people have been in tears as well. Like, I think there's some quite moving stuff in there, and about how when I was ill and stuff, and sort of have a set list of stuff I want to chat about, and then. But as you can hear from chatting to me, I go off piste quite a lot. Sort of like Billy Connolly, but with slightly less laughs.
It's perfect for a spoken word. That's exactly what you want. We do that quite. That's one of the reasons we do how we're the podcast, because we quite regularly not talk about the football. But just we mentioned right at the beginning, you said the word comebacks. Now, you kind of had the first few albums, and I love Drawn from Memory. By the way, that was one of my favorites. I absolutely love the likes of Save Me and Hooligan on that. But then you kind of you had that sort of comeback with Gravity, that single came out, and then Out of Nothing, which you said was huge. Then you had that gap where, you had 7 or 8 years where I remember looking periodically whether or not something was happening with the band and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see it as kind of chapters, if you like, do you see these things as comebacks?
Yeah. Well, that's ironically the other thing. We've got a book coming out, and so that is in 3 volumes, like 3 chapters, as you'd say. The first chapter is literally It's called Good Good People. It's out in August, I think. And it's the first book we've done with the 5 of us. We've been asked to do books before. Like, we got asked when we did the first album, but we were like, I mean, there was one hell of a story to tell already by then, because we'd been like fucking 8 years trying to get a record deal. But I just felt wrong to be looking back. Then we got asked again, went out and nothing, did really well. Again, we were like, no, we don't want to look back. But now it's been like 30 years as a band. It feels like, they're asking again. It's like, okay, we'll do it this time. So yeah, the first book is called Good Good People, and it's the 5 of us, basically all the stories from our childhood all the way up to getting dropped by Hut after If You've Never Been. And that gig that we did at the Royal Albert Hall was sort of the end of that era, if you like. We did a sold-out gig at the Royal Albert Hall sort of a week after we got dropped, which was just weird. I remember just thinking as we left the stage, that might be the last ever gig we do as a band, and not really knowing for sure that wasn't true. And so yeah, the first the talking tour is going to be based around that book. I mean, obviously I'll talk about everything, but and yeah, it feels like an era. So like from the beginning of my life up to getting dropped by Hut feels like part 1. And then part 2 is sort of going to be the arena years, if you like Out of Nothing and This New Day, the biggest albums that we had. And the band was at its biggest. We were like playing arenas and conquering the world and all that. And then after that, from the tallies to the present day, sort of feels like another era. And so there's going to be a book 3 based around that. So that's all for the future, yeah. But yeah, it does sort of sit into 3 eras, yeah, at the moment.
Yeah. So, like I said, the 9th album, Avalanche. I mean, so for people who haven't listened to Avalanche yet, I mean, how would you really describe this album? Because I've read your words for a lot of years about all of your albums when they come out, but I'm not sure I've seen you all as a band as excited about an album as I have with this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's legit. I think we are more excited than we've ever been as a band. I mean, you are obviously, when an album comes out, you're going to talk it up, right? 'Cause you spent fucking years working on it and you want people to buy it. So you're going to say it's great, and, you're not going to go, oh, don't bother buying it. It's fucking tomorrow the turgid dog shit that we always release, You just
But
never
you can usually tell with a band, though, can't you? You can tell whether they're hyping up for the sake of it.
I think, yeah, you can, like, when someone comes to you after a gig and goes, oh, that was great, you can tell they're fucking lying, you know what I mean? Conversely, someone can come back and be all surly and like, why didn't you play Retread or whatever? And you know that they really fucking loved it, So it's like, yeah, you know the truth. But yeah, I think that, songs on there like Coming Home and Get Out of My Own Way are up there with the best songs we've ever written, And I think to be still doing that, and Road to Nowhere as well, the chorus of that, I'm just massively proud of that. Still be doing that after 30 years, to still be releasing stuff that feels relevant and feels like it stands up to the best of our back catalogue, is one hell of an achievement. And most bands don't do it. Like, most bands, could almost argue all bands don't do it. Like, I mean, there's a handful of bands, like Radiohead, I think their newest album is their best. It's almost on a direct curve. Like, the first album is their worst, and for me, they've gradually there's been a couple of little wobbles, but generally they've gotten better and better. I can't think of any other bands, I mean, I'm sure they're out there. And I don't know whether it's just I'm biased because I'm in the band, and like all these other bands think they're all releasing their best material and don't understand why no one's listening anymore. I mean, maybe that's just maybe the delusion comes back, maybe like at the beginning when you need that delusion to make it through the fact you're not signed and no one gives a fuck. Maybe at the end you need it to just fucking pad you into your retirement, you know. Maybe the delusion comes back. But I really don't believe that. And if it's delusion, it's collective delusion because we all feel the same way. And it seems like the fans feel the same way as well. Like, we've been playing the songs over the festival circuit. And so non-fans as well, like, they're hearing these songs that they've never heard, you know. You do a festival in front of 20,000 people, whatever, and you play a brand new song. And it goes down as well as good people. It's like, that's a litmus test right there, you know. And for us to like do that, feeling that it's going to go as well, is a litmus test for us, you know, because most bands will be like, just play 1 or 2 new songs. It's a festival. Come on, you got to keep them. You got to keep them in the palm of your hand. You're not going to have them if you're doing the deep cuts. But we've just been like lately. We've been like doing like 6 brand new songs at festivals, you know, like and the gig's not suffering. If anything, the energy's going up.
Because I imagine you're like a wedding DJ at a festival, aren't you?
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, it's like we've got a fucking back catalogue, you know. But as well as hearing, you know, a Sweet Caroline and the Killers, hey, when I'm DJing, I am the bollocks at DJing. I remember once I did this gig in Ibiza, and I've a really good mate of mine, a guy called Eddie Temple Morris, a lovely guy, and he asked me if I wanted to support him DJing in Ibiza, like at Judge Jules's room. Like, he used to have this massive room called Judgment or something in Ibiza, and like 4,000 people, and then the second room held about 1,000 or something like that, and that's where me and Eddie were going to be, and Judge Jules was in the main room. And the guy who was on before me was this like really great technical DJ. He was like spinning like 3 different vinyl discs, and we were in the we were on the plane on the way over to Ibiza on the red eye on like sort of Friday night in Manchester or whatever. Everybody's pissed out of their head already, you know. We're all going to Ibiza. The fucking club night starts as soon as we're landing at 2:00. We're fucking on stage at 3. You know, the night doesn't end till 9 in the morning, whatever. That sort of carry on, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And the guy who's on before me is like, I was like, so what's your last track? You know, what you're finishing on? You know, it's sort of a thing that you do as a DJ, just to sort of, so I can follow it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like it's in DJ circles. It's sort of like a nice thing to do, to go, oh, yeah. I normally end on this and this, and you know, so I can sort of get in my head, right? Okay, that's what I'm following. You know, but he won't fucking tell me. He's like, I'm not telling you because I'm not really a DJ. I'm a fucking singer in a band, so I don't deserve that. Fuck yourself. You know, you shouldn't be headlining. You shouldn't have to be. You don't know the first fucking thing. So like, Eddie's like, well, that's a bit out of order, but you know, he's entitled to whatever he thinks. You know, so he was playing some sort of a cappella with like the original sample from the Prodigy's, whatever, you know, not the Prodigy, but the original sample. And, you know, it was making this amazing noise and people were loving it. You know, there's about 500 people in there at this point, and most people are dancing, but not really going for it. You know, a bit of a cheer every now and again, but, you know, whatever. And I was like, that's Prodigy. That's, I was like, right, well, that's what I'm fucking starting with then. So I just like a fucking crowd pleasing cunt that I am. He's like trying to be all cool, and he's like carried on with his sample, and I just stuck fucking fire starter on, didn't I? Down, and everybody, the whole fucking room erupted because it's what they'd wanted to fucking hear all night. No one ain't fucking too cool for school. Beep, beep, squeak, squeak, showing all how fucking good he is. They've come for a fucking holiday. They want to get pissed, fucking find someone to go home with and fucking have a great night. You know what I mean? So, anyway, yeah. So I played that, and then I'm like, right, okay, well, obviously Chemical Brothers next. I mean, fucking, you know. For some It's only 2 or 3 tracks you can follow, or fucking that,
Yep.
sort of. And by this point, the fucking place has erupted. There's people dancing on tables. It's now absolutely rammed. There's a fucking more than 1,000 people in there. All the fucking promoters who were in Judge Jules' thing all came in to my thing to find out what all the fuss was about. They're all at the fucking back. Guy brings me a bottle of champagne. He's like, fuck it, I've never seen it like this in here. I'm like, I don't know what to play next. I've played fucking Chemical Brothers. I've played, So, of course, I played fucking, what's it? Oh, what they called? Oh, they used to do, what was it called? Sister Bliss was in them. What are they called? My head's just escaped me. They used to have this really tall black guy who I think either got really ill or died, and they did a song called it went dun 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 dun.
Faithless.
That's it, Faithless. Fuck
Yes.
that.
Got that.
Mental block there. I don't know what. Yeah, so I played Faithless and
Yeah.
bigger again. You're like, fucking he's fucking bigger. And then Tiesto, fucking bigger again. It's fucking everyone's like now. It's like, oh my Christ, they're like fucking, So I took them sort of through the original. Sometimes I feel like, but not the Florence one, the original one.
Yeah.
And everyone's behind me going like, can't fucking believe it. By the end of the night, I was playing fucking Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer, and literally, the fucking place was like one of those parties on an American fucking 80s film. It's like naked, fucking mental. It's just fucking having it. And so that's my DJ story.
Yeah, well, it was a bit different to watching. I remember going to see a Shaun Ryder DJ set, and it was very different to that because I'm not sure he knew that he needed to put songs on or do anything at all. To be honest, the only thing I had for him to sign was a 20 quid note. So I got him to sign a 20 quid note, and I woke up the next morning and realised I'd bought a pizza with it. So that was my DJ story. Anyway, but. Just quickly as well, just going back to where you are, just in terms of the fans, because I talked about I'm one of those, so I remember Goodwill Out coming out, the buzz before it, but it must mean a hell of a lot to you when you look down, whether it's festivals or your tour as well, where you go, bloody hell, there's some teenagers in there, or there's a group of kids, or there's you can see that kids are getting onto the new songs and then probably going back and going, all right, I'm going to look at what they did way back when.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I don't know how much of it is like Embrace fans bringing their kids or whether it's kids generally, but yeah, there's definitely a good chunk of people. There's a good chunk of people that got into us as a result of FIFA. And there's a good chunk of kids that got into us as a result of Gavin and Stacey. So yeah, there's still new people coming, even though we're not we're not played on Radio 1 anymore or anything like that. There's still like a lot of people getting into it, and that's great. That's a wonderful thing.
But there can't be many bands that are played as much as you, because I just on the TV in general, because whenever there's the BBC use you quite regularly on the background of football, especially with the World Cup, the different songs, good people's used quite regularly in the background when they're finishing football programs and things like that. And you hear yours every so often. I always go, that's Embrace that on the TV. But there can't be many bands that are used as much as you are.
Quite often I'll be like walking down the street and I'll hear something. I go, that's really good. What's that? And then it's us. I'll hear it and not recognize it first. I'll be like, oh, I quite like that. What's that? And then it's us. That's weird. And often it'll be in the background of, like MasterChef or They usually play us when someone gets knocked out and Coldplay when someone does really well. I think that sums up like when you're depressed, you're like fucking stick an Embrace track on. When you're really chuffed, stick a Coldplay one on.
It's Ashes is always used in MasterChef.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody gets through, or
For some reason, I don't know why, but we are disproportionately in the background of a lot of TV stuff. I have no idea why.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, I mean, we've gone right through there. 30 years. We've got Avalanche coming out. You've got the spoken word coming out. You've got a Embracer on tour. Obviously, we'll talk about. We'll mention Sunderland again before we go. But what's left to do for Embrace? I mean, what's next? Do you just want to keep on producing? Like you're talking about producing your art, and in terms of the album after album, you enjoying still playing live. I mean, is it just more of the same?
Yeah. Well, so this year is our busiest year. Like since we did the World Cup song, like we've had an album out, we've got a book now, got spoken word tour, got all the festivals, got a big UK tour with the band at the end of the year, and then next year some more spoken word stuff. I think the idea is to release a Redux album of sort of our biggest hits reimagined,
Mm.
which we're in the middle of at the moment, and that's sounding great. The remake is just, it has to be better than the original or it's not going on.
Mm.
And we've already done Fireworks, My Weakness, Good People, Glorious Day, Looking As You Are, Drawn From Memory, and they all sound better than the originals.
Just quickly, we going through that list, but I remember you were, I mean, a bit like Oasis, actually. Noel Gallagher said he regretted it, but your B-sides were always fantastic.
Well,
And
yeah, this is the other thing is, after this album, we're then looking at revisiting some deep cuts. So, and we haven't decided what that's going to be at the moment, but some of our best stuff from B-sides that maybe became a B-side because we didn't really do justice to the song in the recording, and now sort of feel like maybe we can. So maybe like DNA, Maybe I Wish, Dry Kids, stuff like that, where now we know what we know about how to make music and we're better at it. We could maybe have a run at those and do, make them into A-sides, So that's the idea for the year after. No, the year after, a new album. And then the year after that, this deep cuts album. So that, yeah, it's all sort of mapped out, and that is to 27, 28, 29, and 30. There's a lot of plans. For me, the thing I'm most excited about is the new stuff. The best stuff on Avalanche we did right at the very end. Coming home and Get Out of My Own Way.
Love Coming Home.
Yeah, they were done in the last couple of weeks. And so we want to strike while the iron's hot and keep going, keep writing, because I think we're in a real purple period at the moment of creativity. And so yeah, we're still. I'm literally this week. Rick and Mick have been sending me stuff, and I've been writing, and so a new album really, really soon. And yeah, just carry on. I love it. It gives me a reason to get out of bed in the morning. We're all closer now as a band than we've ever been. We love each other like brothers, and I want it to continue until the day I die.
Yeah, well, that's good news to all people like me who are, of course, huge Embrace fans. But of course, other than myself, one of the main reasons we did ask to speak to you was because you are playing a gig in Sunderland's Cliffe Park and Seaburn Seafront on the 14th of August. I mean, are these ones a little different because it's not part of your official tour, or I mean, do they have the same sort of feeling?
It's like I was saying before, like we get together as a band like every week or every other week or whatever over the summer, and it's like, right, where are we going now? And it's just like a jolly outing, Usually go out for an Indian or whatever, and and then whatever audience you meet, we've usually got them in the palm of our hand by the end. You know, we know what we're doing now. You know,
Yeah.
we're just a good live band. You know, and I think like there's a lot of people there who love us, but there's a lot of people there who don't know who we are. And so by the end they'll be like, oh my god, they did this one, and then oh they did that one. Oh, is that them? Oh, you know. And so like once they've heard like Gravity, Ashes Come Back to It, you know, Are You Good People, Nature's Law, you know, the list goes on. They're like, oh my god, are those all the same fucking band? You know, a lot of people don't realize that, and so they're like, oh, I should check them out. You know, so they're like, you know, they sort of know the songs, but they don't know the band.
Mhm.
And so yeah, we do really well at festivals. I think. You know, disproportionately well at festivals for a band our size. You know, we sort of bat above our weight. You know, bigger bands don't go down as well as us, and that's great. You know, I love that. I also like having something to prove and sort of going on stage and. You know, people might be stood there with their arms folded at the beginning, but usually by the end they're jumping up and down like they're going to have the next day off. You know what I
You've
mean?
cracked them.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's it. Well, I think it's the Waterboys, I think, from memory the night before, and then I think it's Ocean Colour Scene, I think, the night after on the Saturday. But you're on the Friday night, so everyone should get tickets for that. But I just want to say, Danny, we've kept you for far too long, and I do apologise.
Oh,
It
I've
was probably
enjoyed it, man. It's been great. I've loved it.
longer than planned, but it just leaves us to say thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure, especially for a fanboy like myself. So really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Danny.
I've enjoyed it. No, thank you.
Good stuff. And thanks again, everyone, for listening. Look, get on and buy your tickets for Cliffe Park, especially if you're based in Sunderland. If not, check out the closest Embrace gig while they're on tour. And then there's the spoken word tour that Danny was talking about. There's plenty of tickets going for the end of this year and into 2027 as well. There's a new book coming out. If you haven't heard Avalanche, get on that, listen to that. So there's loads going on with Embrace, and like I said, get your tickets for the Cliffe Park show, because there's going to be a cracking weekend down Sunderland seafront. We'll also have the latest on the footy on the Rock Report website, or our daily releases on How We're the Podcast. But from us, it's bye for now.